Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angryprepper. So today's video, we're going to talk about a word that seems to be getting in the way of preppers prepping. Because this word is going to be used during a shit hits the fan scenario. So the word, guys, I'm talking about is called fair. A lot of people keep talking about fair. Fairness, this is not fair, that's not fair. And I always tell people, life isn't fucking fair. Deal with it. But from preppers, or in a prepper aspect, the word fair, we're going to be hearing that shit a lot if there's a shit hits the fan scenario. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, it's not fair that billionaires have that much money. It's not fair that, the Abu Dhabis have, $20 billion and they throw it all at hookers and cocaine. It's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair. But guess what? They worked for it. Doesn't matter. Now, as preppers, what are we doing? We are working for it. We're earning it. We're fucking putting our hard-earned money towards new preps, putting food, gathering a food supply, canning, getting materials to can, getting materials to store your food so that insects and mice and rodents don't get to it. We are preparing and we're putting our money into that instead of hooker whores and drugs, right? And I'm pretty sure hookers and whores are the same thing. Anyway, my point is, guys, is that you're going to hear this word fair when this shit hits the fan. You're going to see people go, that's not fair that you have all that food. Well, motherfucker, we told you a long time ago to get ready for the fucking hammer to drop. The hammer was going to drop soon. We told you it was going to drop. And listen, eventually, guys, the hammer's going to drop. I don't know if it's going to drop this year, next year, 10, 20 years from now. Nonetheless, it's going to drop. And it's good to pass on this prepping ideology to our kids. But when we start hearing it in the world, you're going to start hearing more people, maybe your friends, maybe a family member. That's not fair. Why do you have all that ammo and I don't? Well, you didn't get ready. You didn't buy enough. You didn't stop smoking an extra pack of cigarette less a day to buy more rice, sugar, beans, or whatever it is. You can absolutely prepare for what's coming, but they don't want to because they think they're going to be safe. They think the government is never going to They think the government's always going to support them and that the government's never going to let them down. This is what the idiots think, the normies. They think the government's always going to be there for them. Daddy government will take care of me. This is how they think. We, on the other hand, are like, nope. No fucking way. And not even nope. I want nothing to do with the government taking care of me. Zero. I'm out of that bullshit. Because I want to be dependent on myself. I don't want a handout. I don't want to wait online. None of us do. None of us want to wait on that fucking line and some shit breaks out. Then what, right? Now, granted, man, if you can get on one of those lines and gather some more food because you want to put food away for maybe your family members that are coming in that you know are going to make their way to you and shit like that, then do that. But on the other side of that coin, I would also just leave it for the normies. Let them fucking struggle with it and let them deal with that bullshit, that line, that problem. But when you start seeing people talk about fairness, again, you're going to hear it. The Twilight Zone episode called The Shelter, right? This is where they thought a nuclear bomb was coming in and they were all running. They went to the shelter. The first family went to their shelter and they hunkered down. And then you had people sitting there talking about, it's not fair. Why do you guys get to live and we get to die? And it's like, it was all of this dialogue going on. All right. Now, the shitty side of that episode, because every prepper should watch that episode, because that is something that's going to happen. You're going to hear people talk about fair. You know what? Fuck fair. It's not fair. I get it. It's not fair that, billionaires get to fucking spend their money on everything under the sun. It's not fair that, certain people get to live longer than others. It's not fair. But that is called life. And people are not going to understand that when this shit is on. All they're going to know is that you have food, you have ammo, and it's not fair. Why do you get to feed your family and I can't? And you're probably going to hear that. There was a guy during the Katrina hurricanes. He was a prepper, apparently, and he had people knocking on his door. So the first guy knocked on his door was his friend. Knocks on the door, tells him that they didn't have something for the baby, whatever it was. It wasn't formula, but it was something else. And he gives him a box of food and says, here, this is all I got. The rest is for my family. It's his friend. He's being honest, right? So his friend comes back the next day or day or two later asking for more. But with that, he has more people standing behind him. Anyway, it got ugly. A shotgun came out of somewhere, and the guy had to let a shot go, and everybody ran. Needless to say, his friendship ended. The other problem was, after the whole thing died down, the Katrina incident died down, they got their power back and all that shit, dude had to move. He had to take his family and go somewhere else, because the neighborhood was now pissed at him that he didn't share. They knew the hurricane was coming for a few days, almost a week or two. They knew this hurricane was headed in the direction. They said the path could hit Louisiana. That's the time you prepared, you get ready, you get all your water, your food, your batteries, your flashlights, and so on and so forth. But they didn't do that because they were relying on this guy. And that's probably because they knew he was a prepper, or at least his friend knew he was a prepper. And his friend in the back of his head was like, Jimmy will take care of us. That's okay. That was probably the thinking. Now, for those of us that have friends and family that knows we're preppers, or our neighbors know that we're preppers, that's going to present a problem when we run into that problem. Because again, that was in Katrina. That was a hurricane situation, a localized event. Imagine something bigger where they're not going to see food for a very, very long time. They're going to use that word fair. You're going to hear that shit constantly. That's not fair. Why do you get to protect your family and feed them? Motherfucker, because I sat there and noticed what was going on. I'm like, nope, I don't want to be a part of the system. I want to be my own person. People who are going to rely on the government are going to realize the government can't help, and they're going to turn around and sort you out. That is just how the world works. So when you start hearing the word fair being used amongst people, that's when you fucking take flight. Now, this is why a lot of us are looking for bug out locations. Clearly, I'm looking for a bug out location, and first step is to get out of the city. Again, moving out is a task, but if this thing I have that goes through happens, I'll be moving not too far from the city, but I'll be outside of New York City. Whatever. But guys, you gotta understand, fair is not an eligible word in the prepper community. Either you get it done or you don't. Because you're not going to sit there and go, it's not fair that Billy has all the lights on because he has an abundant amount of gasoline running his generators and the solar powers, but we don't. But we have all the food. Now, this is where bartering comes in. You could barter. You can ask for one of his generator and give him some food, or vice versa, right? So it can work that way if you're going to barter. But again, to sit there and have somebody start using the word fair is a word for the delusional. During the word fair being used during the shit's the fair scenario, keep in mind, guys, we're going to be the rich ones now. We're going to be the rich ones, but richer in the sense, we're going to be rich in the sense that we have supplies. We're going to be rich in the sense we have knowledge. Those people don't. Even if they got food, they wouldn't know what to do with it, how to spread it out, how to make it last. If you gave them seeds, they probably wouldn't know how to fucking garden. And I don't know how to garden, but I would definitely figure it out, or contact one of my friends, or read one of the many gardening books that I have, right? So we're ready in the sense, guys, that no matter what happens, we have knowledge in our heads or on a bookshelf. These people don't. And these people, are in essence going to be poor. And what do poor people do when their back's against the wall and they don't like the fairness game? They attack. And you're ultimately going to run into that problem, possibly being attacked. Now, if you live in a neighborhood that's small, like Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, he lives in a small niche community, they're going to get together and they're going to make it work. A lot of you guys live in, like, Blue Yonder, Whiteywood, and you guys have small communities where you guys can get together and make it work. If you live in a city like myself, the only way you're going to make that work is within the building you live in. And even then, you're not going to get everybody on board. So that's always going to present a problem anyway, right? Because it's just too many people, too many mouths to feed, too many hands out, too many people looking for something here. You guys will probably run into that problem too in your little rural areas, but you're going to run into that less frequently than I would here in the city. I know a lot of you are going to put in the comment section, get out of the city now. I get it. I get it. Anyway, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.